Welcome, everybody, to the final Refrain Alliance recap, round 3. I am joined here by Aaron, or Orion Floxamol. Welcome, Aaron.
Everybody, hello.
And we've got another set of 8 matches to talk about. And we will, we'll just get to it because these recaps have been running longer than we expected them. So maybe this time we'll finish in like an hour and a bit.
We'll
Right?
see.
We'll see.
Once you get us talking, it's
There's no stopping this. So if anyone is in the chat, please let us know if the audio is good, and then we can also see if the chat pop up on the stream is working correctly. We always think it is, but I can tune the audio if needed. Right. So it's all good. Crystal says, "Thank you, Crystal." It's a first time chat as well, so welcome.
Yes. Welcome in.
Highlights. You go over this first one.
Yes, this was an interesting week for us. We'll get into the matchups a little bit, but it's kind of hard to get the highlights here because there's just some kind of rough matchups, I would say, which a lot of times means you don't always get to see kind of the cool interactions between the two decks like that. And that's just the nature of Alliance with some of these decks, especially like you just have the possibility of shutouts or whatever. But for me, I think like just like the chessiest match, if you didn't get the analogy here, the chessiest match was Random Joe versus SC Steel. Just so much back and forth, so much just like one turn difference, one little like card draw difference or whatever could have swung the games either way. And they're both very sort of disruptive, but also fast decks. So it was just interesting to see kind of how that matchup played out. But it was a fun one to watch, even though it wasn't necessarily we didn't get the third game, unfortunately.
Yeah, the interesting thing is for me, the highlights also have been the challenger matches. There we've seen a lot of close games actually, there's 3 of the decks. One of them is not depicted here, but the last one was played.
Sorry about that motility.
Only a couple hours ago, versus Donut's dad, and that game was also going into. We'll talk about more of them, but there were some new brews. That showed up, and there will be a couple more new brews that will show up in this week's challenger matches, and that's always fun to see.
Yeah, that was definitely the most exciting thing for me, is just seeing new stuff or seeing different spins on some stuff we'd already seen, right? We'd seen some Thralls, we'd seen some Scholars, but these decks just played them so different. And then I think for me, like Strawman's deck was really, really crazy to see, because it's not one where you can see right away what it's doing, but then once it starts firing, you're just like, oh, this game's just over. It's a scary one, and he was playing it super fast too, so very, very practiced with that, so that was fun. But all these challenger matches, this is our first time doing challenger matches, right? So very
some feedback at the end of if people are enjoying them or interested. I think it adds a nice touch to it. But Easy Clean also welcome. Utility 5 welcome. And I added another segment. It's the community prediction skills. So how good is the collective at predicting the final refrain? And round 1, we were at 50%. So that's interesting, right? 50%. I mean,
that's how it felt too. Right, round 1 felt like tons of upsets and just like crazy swingy games and stuff.
Yeah, so half of them were, you can call them upsets if you go based on the number of votes. Some of them bigger than others, and then maybe you'd think people would learn in round 2 a bit more about the matchups, and well, they did. We're now at 6 out of 8, which is 60. What is it? 72-73%, I guess, more or less.
Yeah. I don't do that when it's a Sunday. Come on.
It's 3 out of 4 even, so that's super easy.
75%. Yeah, we should have had that.
Okay, yeah.
You're all stuck with us for another hour and a half, guys. Just so you know.
The math is on point. And then here, oh wait, maybe spoilers, maybe not. Let's see how we did in round 3. If we got better. Anyway, Yeah, easy cleanup. Thank you. 75.
Yeah,
We got it. We got it. We worked it out. A bit slower, but we worked it out.
had to do it, fingers
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. Math is mathing. So, match 25, because we're going according to bracket logic. So, round 3, match 25. Um, Random Joe versus SC Steel. Briefly talked about this being a highlight. Because it was oppression versus nobody puts baby in the corner, and where Random Joe is just trying to disrupt and then value it out all the way to the end, where SC Steel, nobody puts baby in the corner, wants to lock you out by recurring corner the market in this and archiving it with a dis-pipped shard of resurgence. It was a very interesting match. Let's talk
Yeah.
about, if I can recall, game 1 and game 2, but I think they were both quite similar. In the end, Random Joe won it 2-0, but that score doesn't do justice to how close this game actually was, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
Yeah, I feel like both games, it just felt like one turn of Random Joe not having quite the right answer, and it would just swing the other way really fast. And some of the answers that he found were not what I was expecting, which is really cool to see.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was just like edge of your seat every turn. It's like, okay, what can she do from here? And then next turn, what can he do from here? Because they have to do something right now, and it just felt like every turn
it
felt that
felt
way.
like every turn, like the
Yeah,
the lock was like there was a certain sense of doom on Random Joe. So like, okay, now surely he needs to do some magic trick, and again another magic, and then and again, and then like the lock was there, but the amber was just too much, right? So I was very impressed with Random Joe's ability to kind of like twist and turn and just get out of the very scary lock that was
yeah.
about to happen.
And control the board too, right? I feel like there was a point where she could have started the combo,
Yeah,
but she didn't have any board presence to keep generating the amber, so she just couldn't fire it. And so
yeah,
that
yeah,
bought him another turn to be able to just like find more of that disruption.
yeah,
So it
indeed.
was, yeah, it was
Yeah,
a really, really good
yeah.
match.
And game 2, I feel like both of the games were more or less of the same. Welcome, Benji, by the way. And I boosted my sound a little bit because I heard from Harm that I needed to boost it. So let me know if that worked out either by WhatsApp or Twitch. That's fine. But game 2 was a bit more of the same. And well played for Random Joe. Very deserved victory because very skilled plays there. Too bad we lost Sydney in the tournament, but she got so far. Feels like Random Joe put baby in a corner. Yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. He did. Yeah. So Random Joe, it was victorious in this one. Match number 26. Speaking of the Devils, Harmed versus Fakey.
Mm-hmm.
I had my theories on this matchup going in. What about you, Aaron?
I was actually really curious to see how this one was going to go. I thought it could have gone either way depending on like who gets the board. I did think it was going to be probably more uphill for Fakey, just because there is so many ways to sort of like these Brio Calp decks. As we've seen, they don't always have to just do the Brio Calp thing. They have so many ways of kind of
Yeah.
hitting you, and so like you have to be able to answer all these sort of things. And then with Harm specifically, it can even deal with the Calp getting purged, right? So there or the with
Yeah,
certain
it
cards
doesn't
getting
fully
purged,
have
and
to
so it's just
rely
like
on the Brio Calp in his own deck. He can use the tools
yeah,
from your deck, which, if
there's
you're very
yeah.
unlucky, it can happen 3 times in the same turn. So,
BR Geisting and Furnace, I think, is that card is just insane. It's
yeah.
so scary. When to get played against you in a deck that kind of relies on stuff from the discard and everything.
Yeah, fun
Yeah,
fact,
yeah, we're
yeah, we were just talking about it, that you both thought you were heavily favored, and obviously Harmed and I, we tested this matchup, and the first, like I told you, the first game we tested, I completely smacked the crap out of Harmed by purging 22 cards, and then proceeded to never do that again.
yeah.
So obviously two decks that are very hard to pilot and master.
Yeah,
So
I think that was the biggest thing we had said, right? Is this
yeah,
these
so
decks take a lot of skill, a lot of practice.
even though our practice showed a very high win percentage, probably for Harmed, and Fakey's practice showed very high win percentage for Fakey, and we always, when we do that, we correct for not being able to master the deck fully. Um, but still, it was a bit in Harm's favor, and it turned out to be, um, yeah, a dominating game from Harmed. He got a great start, and I would say that Figgy also didn't get a bad start. But it just, yeah, the guys that just went crazy and just, the lock came down. Even if the lock didn't come down, there was just so much amber, and Fakey's deck could not show what his deck can do.
I think the big thing you see there is only one Star Alliance turn, right? And it's just like from the other games
Yeah,
you've seen, that
yeah,
deck
a
needs to
lot
be playing
more.
Star Alliance most of its turns to really get the efficiency, really get the board going, kind of get that extra control and dominance. And it just didn't get set up. I think one of the things we said, like the key to this being a super important card for the matchup, just to be able to reset the board a little bit. That is in a way that is not countered by Bryocalp, and I don't think we saw that in either game, right?
No, but you need the key of this and the Infernus at the same turn. So you need to
Yeah.
dig through your deck before all the crazy stuff happens, and that can happen sometimes. But you're just not that fast. So yes, the key to this and Infernus can throw a wrench in the plans, but by that time probably there's a lot of amber and you need to do other things. So yeah, game two. Unfortunately, Vicky didn't play out both of the games, so our stats are messed up. And we please encourage everyone to stick through the games and play them out. It must suck playing against two caps, two Bryos, but yeah, just end the turn and then just let your opponent do the things. So you see that Harmed had a one key. Actually, the game was locked down with two Calps, Bryo, a lot of other creatures on the board, and yeah, Harmed making it to the semifinals once again.
This is impressive.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Winning the final Refrain Archon now in the semifinals and matching up against Random Joe. Is there a good chance for Harm to make the finals in both Archon and Alliance? I think yes, but
Yeah, this is it's going to be so interesting. Like we said, the Life Ward
yeah,
is again one of those cards that Harm's deck doesn't play around as well. It doesn't counter compared to the other things it can counter as well.
the main threat that comes from Harm's deck is playing out creatures or being able
Yeah.
to bring them back. So spreading out your control the weaks with Life Ward turns and maybe Scrambler Storm can also be very annoying.
The Scrambler Storms are annoying, but again, it's kind of like we saw against Sydney, where like the deck is just always forcing you into some corner
Yeah,
every turn.
yeah.
The question is, can he always pick the right corner? I think that's kind of where it comes
That
down to
is
a lot for
exactly
this. And
because the control the weaks, I don't think you're as much scared of because in Geistoid you can do very scary stuff. In Starlines you can do very scary stuff, and in Unfathomable you can also do very scary stuff. So
yeah, I
yeah,
think Unfathomable is usually your hit there, though, unless Harmed already has the
probably
board set up, right? If you don't, then you're like, okay, he's going to drop 3 or 4 creatures, and then I have to deal with that next turn, but he's not going to do the cycling Geistoid stuff. He's not going to make a huge board of Star
yeah.
Alliance, but it's going to be game dependent, or like depending on where
Very,
it's at in
very.
the match.
There's like no way to say like this is always your best target. It depends on board state
Mm-hmm.
and the skill of Random Joe's picking which house will probably determine to a great amount his success.
Important, though, he does have the Shark, too. So again, there's more than one kind of answer,
Shark is good.
but those answers are usually only buying you a turn against a deck like this that can
Yeah,
recur the
yeah.
stuff so fast.
There is ways for Harm to get rid of the shark permanently. So even without Infernus on Oppression side.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one to watch. Of course, it's a semifinals. Oppression Carpe Diem. I think
But
there's
all ones to watch.
yeah. This is a very interesting matchup.
Yeah,
And I
very
see
excited.
Captain Gale is rooting for Harmed, obviously, as a teammate.
That doesn't make any sense. Oh,
Right. So we got those two games out. Now the other side of the bracket, the nightmare. And was the nightmare justified? Um,
oh
Aviator,
poor Aviator.
JDG, Triple Quixelstone, Infernus, Jar, Mark of This, versus someone who wants to spam Mars creatures. Um, yeah, the nightmare I think was warranted, even though it was close-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you see that JDG got a quick key, and then Aviator got two, and then in the end, JDG, yeah, got this game won, and I think there was a lot of stalling involved with the universal keylog and the what is that, autovac. Um,
Yeah, thought
so
it back.
it
There
was
was so
it was a
much in this
lot
deck.
closer than anticipated at first. Any thoughts on your side on either game one or game two here, Aaron?
I mean, it's again, I think this is probably the way it was favored, although it was going to be close just because kind of like we saw with the other Quixel match or Quixelstone decks or matchups where you also have to be able to deal with the amber that some of these decks are putting out, whether it's the Demot's GR or this deck. Like even if it's not playing creatures, there's so much pips, there's so much like filtering and stuff for different cards. Instead of going for the Mars game plan, you can go into
Yeah,
Geistoid and do the junk restorations and stuff. So like it's still not easy, but you coming into this as JDG, you know you are crippling one of the things
yeah.
this deck is doing. So you just know you
You
have
built
that,
some
and just
confidence.
do what you can to try and stop, the other things it can do, which is that amber generation we see in the second game.
And what
Definitely
we've
will be
seen with
faster.
Aviator's deck, usually it finishes the game by turn 6, and the first key only came at turn 11 and turn 9 here, and
Yeah,
then
it's
that
crazy.
definitely favors JDG's game plan, because the longer the game takes, the
Mhm.
more JDG likes it, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure. That deck is
yeah,
it's basically an inevitable win when you
yeah,
get to a
yeah,
certain
yeah.
turn,
If
right?
it gets past turn 13, 14, then yeah. So JDG winning that one. Then the last match already of this round three, at least from the main tournament, Donkey Forge versus Damat. In the predictions, I still voted for Donkey Forge because I had to, even though when I looked at the matchup and I tested it against Donkey Forge, never having played Damat's deck, um, I think we played 3 games and won all 3 of them.
Mm,
So like, uh
interesting.
oh, uh oh. Um, and then yeah, the game happened,
Yeah.
um, and it kind of turned out as expected. There was obviously opportunities, but they, yeah, it just that the Cowps again, the Cowps were just there at the right moment, because
Yeah.
even in testing when Donkey Forge, for instance, had the combo that he needed, or like the sequence to set up the infinite turn, one Cowp could
The cow
completely ruin that plan.
because Donkey Forge only has creature control really in Equidon, right? So you can't really fire the combo
I think,
and kill
yeah, I'm
stuff at
not
the same
too
turn.
sure actually by heart. But yeah, not a lot of targeted. Sorry.
Know his deck by heart. You probably know Harms by heart.
Yeah, I know Harms by a lot better than Donkey Forges. Donkey Forges need so much. Well, they both need a lot of brain power, but I haven't dived into that much of Donkey Forges deck. Maybe I should. But yeah, Damat, the world champion. Yeah, taking these 2 games very commandingly. The matchup was,
Cards played are crazy.
yeah, the matchup was not very in the favor. Dragnet and Unfathomable might be it
Yeah.
outside of Equidon. Yeah. Um, so, for instance, like a Cowp comes down, you play the Omnipus where you want to get the Tentacles out, but you can't. So, yeah, it's just very, very awkward. But
Or
well
you play
played.
the
Sorry?
or you play the Omnipus and it finds no tentacles, right? I think that's
Or
what happened
that.
to
Yeah,
game two.
that also
It was
happened.
like turn
But
one or turn two
yeah.
Omnipus and just no tentacles.
Yeah,
And
so
like you
so
need that board
so what
presence.
I know, Donkey Forge did try to find an alternative game plan instead of going for the lockout. But yeah, in the end it didn't come to be. So
Mhm.
Damat, moving on, and we've got our other semifinal. JDG Damat. Damat has experience in this sort of matchup, hasn't he?
He does. We've already seen him take down a Quixelstone deck. That one had a little bit different game plan.
Yeah.
But oh man, I don't know.
I don't know. This is also like those both semifinals. They oh, I feel like I'm slightly inclined to favor JDG here. Also, going it maybe all the way if he ends up facing Harmed in the finals versus Random Joe. I don't know. And if Damad and Harmed face each other in the finals, then it's also that's a coin flip. But this matchup, it's triple Quixelstone. It's so
It's so consistent. Like it's just you have to expect if you're Demai, you have to expect there's going to be a Quixelstone down by turn 2.
yeah.
Just that is the world you were playing in, and by turn 4, it's you can't fix that, right? I guess Demot doesn't even have true artifact control, does he? So it's just like I think a big piece of it is going to be the one you're talking about before, the auto vac. When JDG gets that online is probably going to matter a lot because we've seen Demot's deck can just make a lot of amber even if it's not playing.
A universal keylock can also tax at the right moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tricky matchup, but I think this is also like these semifinal games are going to be so interesting to watch.
They will be. Yeah.
The mark of this is again like
probably don't do much because they're all two power creatures, right? Most of them that matter.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a full list.
But they kill a Calp, right? That's the thing. Is like if you can only play one creature, and that creature is Calp, and then
mark of this is important in targeted removal instead of locking you in a house.
Yeah, at least short term in the game, but it'll just so much will depend.
If you're able to mark of this and purge it with an Infernus, that's already a little bit of your worries gone. But do you want to purge the Calp and the Brio in this one? Maybe they're better targets.
So the other thing I was thinking of is that Ultra Gravitron. Does Demot's deck have a good way of clearing that? Ooh. Does he have a Grim Reaper? Because that could just sit there as your only creature if you're a JDG and just purge some of these problem creatures. But then the problem is you're not really controlling Amber probably the way you need to. I guess if you have the auto back down. I don't know. I think a lot's going to depend on if JDG can get, like we said in the last matchup too, if he gets the Amber control online fast enough to get to that inevitable win con, right?
Indeed. Let me open up the deck list real quick here so I can provide some insights. You were asking artifact control or?
What does Demot's deck have to clear the
right. It's got Winds of Death. It got Tendrils from Beyond.
Winds of Death is tricky. That almost helps JDG.
Yeah, and it does have a Grim Reaper. It does have a Grim Reaper. Okay.
But you have to have space to play it, right?
You gotta have space to play it, yeah.
So that could be really interesting.
Very interesting.
Again, the Quixelstones I think are going to be more important. Also the jar. But Demot can replay the jar, right? So this is where he doesn't have a way to deal with Quixel, but he can replay the jar and actually jar something in JDG's deck, right?
Yeah, so Spontaneous Awakening reads, if your opponent is haunted, destroy an enemy artifact. Blah, 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 blah. If you do play the card as if it's in your hand, so the jar goes down, but maybe you jar Spontaneous Awakening to keep your auto encoder online and not ever running the risk of being jarred into something crazy, right? I think that's probably
the right call.
Yeah, that's probably the right call. Look at us. We're helping JDG. Figured that out 2 weeks ago.
Listen. Yeah,
yeah.
He's probably thinking,
like,
levels.
You guys, what are you saying? Even like, okay. Anyway, was the community doing better? Well, yes, actually the same. 3 out of 4, so 75% on the prediction this time. So, yeah, good community. Good on you. Next,
so the one that was missed by the community was the Random Joe versus SC Steel.
It's so funny because Sydney was the underdog every time she won, and now
everybody's like, oh, fine, she's probably gonna win again.
But someone that made this screenshot was brilliant and saw through the hoax of. Don't look at Donkey Forge, but that was a Sympathy vote. That was a sympathy vote.
A sympathy vote.
Anyway, so the bracket has been developing
Yeah.
like this, and we're now here. Yeah, so that we are at 0% with Sydney's predictions. Yeah. The
And
community cannot predict Sydney
what
in
an
maybe
awesome
more
top
ways
four.
than one. Yeah, we got two awesome semifinals planned for this week. So really,
4 different countries represented, which I'm sure we'll look at later. But
yes,
yeah,
we will.
this is
Oh yeah,
this is a scary finals.
yeah. So we got our top 4 players here: Harmed, JDG, Random Joe, and Damat. So we got the Netherlands, we got Canada, we got United States, and Italy. So 2 Europeans, 2 North Americans, battling out for. They at least won something already. They at least won an Ember Sky Seal deck. But if you win this match, you for sure win a display, and you might win a playmat and the travel reimbursement main prize. So, where, of course, the people entering this tournament play it for the honor and wanting to win, and they didn't know that these prizing were there. But this adds another layer of, maybe slightly anxiety or a pressure or hopes. I don't know. Let's see how they deal with this. Yeah.
It's the highest stakes we've had in a Keyforge tournament in a while, right?
Yeah,
So this is really big.
Yeah. So very very excited to see how that shakes out. But you don't have to play in the tournament to win something. You can still win something by predicting things. The winner of the prediction game wins an Ember Skies display. The second place gets a seal tag. And random amongst voters, we're raffling 5 times VM 2025. 2 of them have already gone out. One of them has gone to Grishhammer. The other one has gone to Conticali. And we will raffle out in like a mere minute. The next one will go. But let's look at the prediction standings. This is what everyone's been tuning in for after round 2. It's looking like this. And round 3, top 8 has been included. All the sets and predictions. Everything is up to date so far. And obviously 0 mistakes are made because we're perfect, right? We're not. And the system is a bit fragile, I have to admit. But we're doing our best to keep the people entertained, right? So if any mistakes have been made, please reach out and we'll try to fix it. But barring any mistakes, right now, why is this guy always winning? I can't stand it.
Somebody stop him.
Somebody stop him. Oh, Harmed on top. Vargast as well. Also always winning stuff. Mandracore and who's that? Lord Judo? No, I'm excluded from this.
Somebody
list.
with insider information over here.
I'm in here because it's easier to calculate the things. But disregard number 4. And then Unfathomable and Easy Galena, Matilda 5, Matilda Dragon, still Grishhammer also. Still very much in it because I think there's around 10 points to be gained and then another 6 for the finals. So there's still 16 points to be gained. It seems rigged.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Everything we do here seems rigged, but it's not. I swear.
So if you have any issues with this, you can always reach out to Riku.
Yeah, and he will definitely not fix it. Yeah. Harmed, what one will you vote? I will take the other one for sure. Yeah, so this is okay, hold on. One thing, please vote as soon as possible, and when you change your vote, this is where it gets shaky. Now with 2 games to go, I'll probably collect the votes just right before the match, so it should be fine. But yeah, did I really drop in the standings with 3 correct predictions? People's predictions on point. Yeah, people have been predicting 4 correct for quite a few of them. Yeah. But
that's
don't worry. Oh, that's not the right one. Sorry. Oh. Tom.
Where's
There
our
we
wheel?
go. There's it.
Mm.
Maybe your luck will turn around, Captain Gale. Maybe this is your lucky moment where you win a VM 2025. Everyone that
Which, by
voted
the
in
way,
round 3.
are the spiciest decks.
Oh, oh yeah.
They're so
They're
spicy.
spicy.
So if
They're
you win,
spicy.
if you win a Vault Tour with one of these decks, you win from this wheel.
Yeah.
Also contact Riku for his royalties.
Yeah. Okay. And Captain Gale as well. This is the top 8 included as well. So if you got 0 out of the top 8 correct and someone else got 7, well, that explains quite a few of those. Actually, let me see. You should double check. Captain Gale had. How many points did you have here? I don't see you. 32.
At,
yeah, it's correct. Is it? Yeah, it's correct.
40,
it's correct.
He's at 44? Yeah.
Yeah, it's correct. It's correct. Anyway, the wheel. I'm going to click it now. If Grisham or Kontakali come out, they're not going to... It will be spun again. Are we ready?
Let's see it.
Or me. I will also be taken out because...
I win?
What?
Oh my gosh. Complain enough and it works out. It all works out.
This is just more people saying it's
rigged. Just this Dutch team is just taking over everything.
I don't know what to say, guys. Yeah. Oh boy. Well, congratulations, Captain Gill. Oh, that's too funny. It is just...
So if you want to win a Keyforge, even if it's just things like this, you buy your decks from Vietnam and you play on the Dutch team. That's what we know now.
Yeah.
If these events have taught us anything.
Yeah. Matt says can't win shit against the Dutch. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just press the buttons. That's all I do. I just enable the other Dutch people to win stuff. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, Captain Gill, congratulations. If you now proceed to win the Dutch Nationals with that deck, I will be not very happy. But hey, it is what it is.
Unban VM and ban all the Dutch. Listen, we could talk.
What was your PayPal again? I'll send you that 50. Okay, challenger matches. Like I said, a partial highlight for both of us, right? Because these have been super fun. Interesting. So the first match was the first challenger was Bear, and fun fact is part of the ABR team. Surprisingly, wouldn't know of that name. And it was versus Panic. Who streamed this game? Was it? I think it was Strawman. I'm not sure.
This is the one that happened just first thing Sunday
this
night.
Was
it was just
really
like, all right, let's go.
I woke up and was like, hey, the game is done? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for Strawman for being available to get that very, very short notice.
Yeah. Did go with 2-2-1. Did go 2-2-1. Spoiler alert, 3 out of 4 went to a 2-1 in the challenger matches, which I think is pretty good to see. That's what we like, right?
Yeah. It was a tricky game. It was very interesting.
Yeah, because the discards can hurt quite a bit, but I think a Nepseed was coming to the rescue at one point as well. Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's kind of again you're working against that ticking clock of being able to get your stuff set up before Panic is able to do possibly 2 keys in the same turn.
Game 2 was completely different. There it was discarding all the stuff and completely to Bear's favor. Yeah, a
nice disc set up pretty early in that one, I think, and it just I think he was just able to reap out a lot and just Panic didn't even really get going too much.
And then game 3 flipped again. Quick Amber from Panic and was able to key cheat it out with the Dark Discovery. So our participant fending off successfully the challenge and thereby also winning an Amber Skies sealed deck. So congratulations, Panic, on fending off the challenger.
Yeah, and we get to see that cool deck again, right? That's a very unique deck, being able to do the Dark Discovery looping stuff. Very, very cool.
Indeed, it is. It's another chance of those unique decks to shine and see new brews from the community. So I'm really liking these challenger matches. Then we had Easy Galena, the scholarly shifter, uh, being matched up against a Rentalong, an Italian player.
Also a rigged spin,
Also
but
rigged spin, indeed. And I I think you're very unlucky running into a Rentalong, because a Rentalong was very lucky to get unlucky to get eliminated round one. I had a Rentalong going pretty far in this tournament with insane Kota build. Um,
yeah.
it just wasn't meant to be in the main tournament. But how about the challenger match? Did you have any ideas going into this one? What would happen, Aaron?
Uh, I mean, honestly, I definitely thought it was going to be close. I'm trying to remember. I did watch
Oh,
this.
I think I did watch as well. I think I casted it.
Um, but all the ways of like just there's so many strong cards in a Rentalong's deck. You'd think those just all the ways of kind of stealing cards from that deck in Easy Galina's deck
Yeah,
would make it really,
yeah.
really, really hard to kind of get past this. But the thing with tokenizing is sometimes you just tokenize those cards, and like
Sometimes you do.
Scholar Spam can do really good, but it's going to be really tough for it to beat something that's going to
Yeah.
combo off as fast as a Rentalong's deck, right?
Yeah, and indeed, I think game one was looking very much going towards Easy Galena, and then out of nowhere, you know how it can happen.
Out of nowhere is the right way of
Yeah.
saying. I mean, it's not nowhere, but it feels like it's out
Yeah,
of nowhere.
yeah,
Just like
but you
0 to
know also, and I think Easy Galena, if he's still here in the chat, he can probably add some context if I'm saying things wrong. You know, there's this threat looming, like I need to go, 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 because anywhere around turn 5, 6, 7 is really like the pieces must have been coming together. But the double lateral shift and the corner of the market, those can be very, very tricky. And then game two, Easy Galena took it.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was. I think it was a very interesting. I don't know if it was game 2 or 3. I think it was game 1 where the battle fleet drew a lot of cards, and then he only controlled the weak into something. I was like, why? And then it started click like, he's got the key abduction in his hand. So maybe um, there's this card where you keep discarding until you hit the card and you say
Wonder.
discard,
Yeah.
plunder. If Easy Galena, if you recognize it, maybe could have discarded the key abduction and maybe had another chance. I'm not sure. Um, yeah, and there was indeed some, obviously some top decking. They're
Yeah.
involved with some of the games, and then Rentalong also fended off a challenger. I need to kill someone in the chat. I don't know how to do that, but maybe
Click on their
delete.
name. There
Boom,
you go.
that's gone. Um, yeah, so Rentalong fended off the challenger, but it was
So close. Another
interesting.
2-1, right?
It was a 2-1 indeed, but it was a very good one to watch
Hmm.
and to cast.
Yeah. And that
Challenge.
deck basically also
Oh
terrifying,
yeah,
right?
it's
Like
so terrifying, so terrifying.
so
The
much, so much stealing of your
I'm
stuff while it also
surprised.
has this.
I'm surprised there's not more lateral shift cards, because every time I was on TCO at the start of Alliance, I would run into
Mm.
triple lateral shift things, and I'd be like, "Oh my goodness!" So maybe,
Well, I think so. If I remember what happened is there's more. You probably can find more of them in when Worlds Collide, and Worlds Collide was really hurt by the restricted list for a while. I think it's less so now, so we could see more of them coming back. But I
maybe,
think that was part of the reason
yeah,
too why people slowed down playing those.
could be. So this game was only just played today. Matility 5 with a interesting alliance take. So there's this very, it's called access denied. So probably recognizes that a lot of alliances try to play for combo pieces or try to disrupt you, or but there's not a lot of amber control usually in alliance. So stalling your opponent and denying them their pieces and trying to rush amber and punish them for if they also do. I think that was the gameplay. Um,
Mhm.
So there's a fun fact: specializes in playing ready cards. He'll get the joke. um, but yeah, I had a very unfortunate opponent, I think, for being Donut's dad.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Donnerstad just, I mean, one, the Logos board is kind of less like it's one of those places where
Mm.
you're always kind of worried about him getting too much amber to be able to do the Mars stuff, and then all of a sudden there's this Logos board of like 5 creatures, and you're like, oh, I just need to deal with this. I can't even worry about what he's doing in his hand right now. And then if you don't deal with that, he
Yeah.
gets this huge hand. So it's, but then the stings I think are where, or the sting is one of those things that's just so hard to work around
Yeah,
too.
and I think the Cloudburst command is where your keys cost plus something, right? So I think that actually could help Donut's dad. Because usually when you play against a Jenka build and you can let them forge at 6, you'd be like, yeah, do your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, now, yeah, the stings, they stung, right? But
The Merkins too. The
the
Merkins were pretty
Merkins, oh,
nasty.
brutal.
Love
But
that card.
managed to pull off a 1-2 or a 2-1 for Donut's dad. Um, you see that Donut's dad forged for 0 all 3 keys. um,
Yeah.
yeah, so game 1 was battle Martian generosity, and then another Martian generosity later, looping. Game 2, I think Cauterized Vitality early on the Sting, and then a Strange Gizmo again on the Sting. And then Donut's Head not drawing into the second Martian Generosity gave Motility 5 here the opportunity to bring this game home. And then it came to game 3. You did watch, I think, right?
Yeah, I was watching these.
Yeah.
The big thing you saw in game 2 was Motility 5 was able to get to check for key 3. And even if you're at like just 6 or 7 amber, Donnerstad's deck just doesn't deal with that very well, right? Like it's kind of
No.
one of those things where
No.
it's just like you just got to get to that point where you're checking for key 3, and that deck, it falls
Yeah.
apart pretty quick because it just doesn't have many answers. But
It's got
keys 1 and
answers
2 are
in the form of Merkin.
so hard.
If Merkins plays
Yeah.
against all flags
Yeah,
from
he
your
did get the
opponent, then
Merkins.
yeah.
Was it the all flags or was it
Against all
the
flags, I think
effervescent?
one of the two. I
One
don't
of them, but
remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was still back and forth there. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and then game 3, still Motility 5 was 1 key, but still could forge a second key. So, yeah. A very clutch Merkins into Effervescent. Okay, it was Effervescent. Yeah.
yeah,
And Easy Galena also saying that he did top 8 Alliance at Worlds with Lateral Mars, 2 Legionaries, and 4 Befuddle. Yeah, Lateral
that was before
Shifters.
the
Yeah, before the updated ban list.
ban list, which
So
doesn't make any sense.
congratulations, Donut's dad, on fending off the challenger as well. So
So wait a second, are you telling me that none of our challengers have won?
so far, it's been 3 participants that have defended their honor. Let's say.
Which is pretty crazy, but also
Yeah, well, it's
these people are all in this tournament for a reason, right?
they're here for a reason. Yeah, and they don't get to specifically tech into the alliances of the participants, so it's a random draw. So yeah, maybe Strawman can turn a tide. So Strawman has an interesting deck with Well of Memory, Seas Forge, and Joni. The Seas Forge is just so annoying if you don't have art.
So
This is the second
unfortunate.
one she gets to play into the stupid Seas Forge. I didn't fully get to see this match, but you did, right? So can you give a rundown on what happened here?
Well, so the first game, from what I remember, Joni was 1 amber off of being able to forge the first key, and I think that would have actually made a really, really big difference. But she got taken down to 1 amber and then had, or 0 amber, and then had the gift of amber to kill the Drake on board, which puts you to 5 because you don't get the amber from the gift until after the destroyed effects have resolved. Um, and I think from that point, if she gets that key, she's able to pressure a lot better. But not having that key, Strawman then I think gets his first key and then starts looping. But this is where like I just didn't quite understand how Strawman's deck worked until I saw it in
Mm-hmm.
action. And even then, like just you have to sequence so many different things, so many different pieces, but you basically can loop and replay the Seas Forge any turn you need to with the Missile Officer Myers. You have the discard pips in the right places in Geistoid to be able to just do Geistoid turns over and over, and you can replay all this stuff. And one of the pieces of that, which is more of a mercy than anything, but having the Forging an Alliance means you're
Right.
actually key cheating on
Yeah,
some of these
yeah,
turns
yeah,
as
yeah.
well, and then throwing the Cease Forge
You
back
can
down.
forge 2 keys in one turn then pretty much without if you don't have R. Now your Cease Forge
Yeah,
ends, right, and then you forge at the start of your turn, and then you're forging Alliance on your own turn.
it's tricky because you have to be counting like your house cheats that you get and stuff. But yeah,
Sure, sure.
it
Yeah.
does that, and then it also has the 2 market fluctuations, which I'm trying to remember, but I
Man.
think those were getting played pretty early, so discarding half of Joni's hand. I
Market
don't know if
fluctuations
there's
is one
ever
of
a
my
full.
favorite
Yeah,
cards.
it's. Oh, I thought you were gonna say one
No,
of your
no,
most hated. And I
I
was
have
gonna
a
be like,
deck with
yeah,
two of them as
I hate
well.
that card.
No, I love them. Yeah, they're good. They're great. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, the first challenger to win 2-0.
yeah,
But yeah, unfortunate Cease Forge again. I think there was still chances for Joni with Vapor Imps and that kind of stuff. But yeah.
there was one interesting play where she was actually able to steal the Cease Forge, which means it would pop
Oh,
on her turn.
yeah, I did see that.
But
Yeah.
the I can't remember, one of the Equidon dudes, the scrap effect is to return an artifact to its
Oh,
owner's hand. So
yeah.
even with that, like
The
she was able to
Bonded
steal it, which is
Auctioneer.
like the best play she could have done. And then the
Yeah,
Bond Auctioneer
yeah.
lets Strawman just bounce it back. So yeah, just
And
again, very, very rough matchup
Strawman is
for
part
Johnny.
of the casting team, and he's starting his own alliance league
Yeah.
as well sometimes. So definitely someone heavily invested into alliance. So great for him that he managed to pull off this victory. But 3 out of 4 participants managed to defend their challenge. But we have 4 new ones.
Love it.
And the challengers are Matze51, who's in the chat, Liquid Squash, Trump, and Captain Gale. And Captain Gale's also in the chat. And they will be paired up against either Dave C, Mark H, Atsabat, or Cat Marrow.
Should I just call the Dave C Liquid Squash match now?
You could. You
We seem to
could.
like having teammates pair up against each other, so
So again, I am building these matchups as we go. The first one,
take a look at the
and
decks.
this is a bit counterintuitive maybe, but I'll give the context, will be versus Trump. So Trump's opponent will be No. I'm saying this wrong. Dave C will be versus Mats.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're spinning the wrong side. I
Yes,
see.
yes, I'm spinning the wrong
Yeah.
side. So Dave C's on top. So it will be Dave C versus Matson. Dave C versus
All right.
Matson. Yeah. Okay. Let me get that in there. Sorry for the confusion, everyone. Now Mark H will
That'll
be
be
the
very
next
interesting.
one.
Yeah, this is rigged. You don't want to play against Dave? Come on.
Oh yeah.
Playing Worlds Collide. How hard can it be?
Changing it min spin is sus. No one stopped me. It's like, why are you saying Trump's opponent is, and then Trump is in the thing? So
I was looking at Trom's deck,
so
so
blatantly too. Shall I just change it again? No. Mark H versus whoever comes out here. Okay. And you see we're going from top to bottom, so that's the intention all along. Mark H versus Trump.
did you all catch how it was like slowing down? Like it looked like it was laggy and stuff. So that's him just basically like hitting this button that slows the wheel down when he wants it to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how
Waiting
I
for you to announce
operate.
Trom versus Trom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mark H versus Trom, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And now Atsbat versus Liquid Squash. And that leaves Captain Gale versus Cat Marrow. I am going to generate these decks, and then you have the honor, let's say, to spin, to talk about the first
Yeah.
challenge. So,
All right.
um,
So our first challenger here is Trom, and this is a tokens of change deck. Do you know? I'm assuming this is another Thrall build, but do you know? I don't think we have it on here.
no, it's actually a beta forge. So
Oh, the Beta
there
Forge, it
is
does have that on there. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
the Alpha Gammas. Very interesting. I've actually been trying to make an Alpha Gamma Alliance work as well. They're very fun. The scary thing is there's so much artifact or archive hate in there that this is scary. So Trauma is going to be against, who did we say?
Sorry,
Mark
it's
H, I
Mark
think.
H, and I'm whipping up the graphics as we speak. So
That's okay. We'll just take a look at this deck. So thinking about this with the Alpha Gammas, so we still have the double mark of Dis. So you're going to have a lot of, and the Masters. So you're making a ton of tokens. You're still doing a lot of disruptions. Triple Effervescent is going to slow the game down a ton, but it seems like it's going to be really, really reliant on the archives. We've also got the double red line rotation. Is there too much else? Balinora. So this is actually a combo of two different special rares. So the Balinora is going to be able to capture it if your opponent has 7 or more, it will capture all of it on a 20 power catfish. Very cool card. Synergizes very well with the red line rotations if you're able to push them over that 6 amber mark, which is a little bit interesting with this deck. It does have that. Oh no, it doesn't have. We don't have the taxing artifact. I can never remember what that one's called.
the taxing artifact. I did get the matchup in, so
Veil
there
or
we
not
go.
Veil.
So Mark H Trump.
Yeah.
There you go. You've got a little bit of more of a visual now. I'll
Okay.
generate the other ones as well, and then I'll hop
Yeah.
back in.
So Mark H is going to be on a Coda combo deck here. Again, one of these Battlefleet key abduction decks with the triple control of the week and then tons of logos efficiency, library access turn. This is one of those decks that could probably key abduction 3 times in the same turn on a logos turn, but has to kind of do the dis stuff in between to make sure that things are slowed down. It's not the Cloudburst command, unless that's in there too. What's the dis? The Levy of Souls is the one I was thinking of. Is just one of those super, super important artifacts for tokens of change, I think, just to make sure you have those turns where you can just tax, refill your board, and then kind of force your opponent into the higher amber amounts. In this matchup, honestly, I don't think that is going to make as big of a difference. This will be a really interesting one. So the Amassers, the triple Amassers against a deck that is trying to draw this much will be
That will be interesting.
crazy amount of tokens.
um, I got everything generated now, so I'm fully focused
Awesome.
on this again.
So you want me to stop talking is what
No,
you're
no,
saying?
no, that's fine,
You
that's
got it.
fine. But I just want you to know that we're good. We're good. You don't have to fill the whole time. But yeah, cool matchup. Cool
Yeah.
matchup.
It'll be interesting. I don't know if Mark H's deck does much archiving, but it's not going to have the
Are
archive
there
hate.
creatures to be marked?
We'd have to look at Mark H's
Yeah.
deck, but it's probably not playing too many, and you probably don't mind not playing them unless it's got like some mothers or something.
Yeah.
But
I don't think there's a key cheat in here. Oh, there is one key cheat. Yeah.
well, it's the Beta Forge, right?
Beta
So
Forge,
the other
right?
thing is, does
Right.
Mark's deck have artifact control?
I don't know by heart. No, I'll have to look it up.
Not in here. Let me see if I can find that on.
Okay.
You can
Sure.
start talking about the next one, and I'll see
Oh
what we
yeah,
find on
because I
Mark's
want to.
deck.
Matze, our what was it? German, Brazilian, Croatian. I don't even know how many nationalities you own, Matze, friend. But look at the symbol on the top right. Very quickly, Aaron. Look what set this is.
It's one of the Vault Masters.
It's a Vaultmaster, and I think it's 24. So
Yeah, I
this
would
is
say
our
that's probably
first
20.
Vaultmaster Alliance build. And you look at SAS, and you'll be like 73, and I was like, Mats, are you trolling me? What are you cooking? What are you cooking? And then I did have a little bit more of a look at the.
Oh no! I love it.
And I
I
named
love it so
the
much.
deck Make Bad Penny Great again. There is a bad penny with an amber pip and a draw pip, and there's two auto cannons that I really neglected to put in here. What's
Yeah,
going on?
it seemed kind of important.
Why did I not do that? Anyway, the two autocannons. I will fix this graphic because that has to be in there. So
Yeah, that's pretty
there's
sick.
autocannons. So you just rule of six your bad penny, and bad penny is insanely good. And then well, who cares about stealth modes, right? Like you just play your bad penny over and over again. So that's pretty
Well, you
cool.
have to deal with the taxing of 5 eddies,
That is correct. That is correct.
but you have drummer knots for that, right? Like you
Yeah,
can
and the
just,
eddies are almost
you know.
dead anyway, so you just need one. You just need one damage pip somewhere. Um,
Well, so the question is, do you play both autocannons? My guess is you have two of them for consistency, but you
why
don't
would you
play
not
both
play
so
them
that the
though?
subject Kirby's,
Oh,
they would die immediately and you wouldn't get your play effects.
you get
So
to draw. You get to draw. Yeah.
yeah, you get the draws, but my guess is they're for consistency. Also, Dave's deck has lots of artifact control, so holding one is
Yeah.
probably a good game
Yeah.
plan. Um,
Okay. So sorry,
so
Matt.
yeah,
So
it'll be
I will put the autocannons in, but I really like this one. It's a Veldmaster and
yeah.
it's really out of the box. And guess what? If you have two autocannons down, which creatures will not survive? Which ones have been dominating the field so far?
Calps.
Calps. Calps will die. Bye bye Calps.
Very, very interesting.
But
Yeah.
can you find
Very
them in
cool
your
build.
first 5 cards though?
I do know, I don't know if you've seen this, but Judge Marcus,
Uh-huh.
has a amber damage pip, bad penny,
Oh, that's
which
also
is
pretty cool.
it's self-contained of that combo. It doesn't do the drawing, but rule of six
That's
every
pretty
turn
cool.
just for
That is
fun.
pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. We have Liquid Squash, and it's Azabat versus Liquid Squash. Um, a Sanctum Eaton's Jar Maverick and another Eaton's Jar. So double Eaton's Jar. Where well, this
Interesting.
Haunting Witch and Witch Queen sound very juicy and a lot of efficiency in logos and purging stuff. Like the Sanctum is pretty meh, I think,
Yeah,
because
I'm pretty sure this is Vargas build. I've seen several
yeah, it could
several
be, yeah,
repowders.
yeah, it could be for sure. The Sanctum's pretty meh except for capturing a lot of stuff. Which is there a key cheat? There is one key cheat, but it's forging an alliance. So the key cheat is not in Untamed.
Untamed.
So then actually the triple bring lows.
They can do a lot of work.
Interesting.
Other interesting thing is Adzabaz's deck does not have artifact control.
Oh boy. Hey,
So
don't disrespect
both
free
of those
markets.
jars.
Yeah.
Free markets is a solid card. Especially now with house pips, like free markets can just go wild against that. I haven't even thought of that.
Yeah.
Bring back free markets. Is that in PV? We need to see if that's in PV.
I don't know.
That'd be great.
And our last matchup, Captain Gale is called the Netherforge Drakes instead of the Netherforge Lions. So, and he'll be facing off versus, where is it? Cat Marrow.
Huh. This will be interesting. That is a lot of Amber Drakes.
Yes. And there's this phase shift and this cutthroat research are legacies, if I'm correct, right, Captain Gill?
Double legacy with Drake.
The deck's called Drake It to Make It. Well, you didn't tell me that, so so I just made up a name.
I mean, so Cat Marrow is one of the ones we were all a little bit surprised to see get knocked out so fast, but I think she's also playing something that's a little bit more fun and experimental compared to some other stuff. It's a crazy, super awesome deck, so I'm excited to watch this one again. But holy cow, that deck is Captain Gale's deck. Looks like it's going to go fast.
It's going to go crazy fast.
There's no place on the forum.
Oh, so you're telling me I didn't read everything correctly? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I was not under any time pressure or at all. So I'm sorry. As with Matt's deck, I will try to fix that before I put it in the general chat. But yeah, can you be faster? And then, well, the final refrain will have to fight. So if the drakes are on board,
you might actually end up giving
you
a key
might
away.
end up, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a tricky one.
It will be.
Interested to see.
Cool. So those are our. Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
We really need one of those like technical difficulties screens to pop up.
Hold on, while we're fixing your issue. So those are our our new matchups. Let me fix this. Oh man, what did I do? Okay, it's good enough. It's good enough. There's another destroy them all with the logos enhanced. Yeah. So for all the challenger decks, I had to build them real quick. So I just didn't load them all into TCO, screenshot, yeah. Easy Galena, thanks for joining. We still have the best section of all going. So for those people that are still hanging around, is statistics and trivia. We did 1 hour for the main part, and now we still have
time to blaze through.
20 minutes maybe.
We can do this.
This is always fun to see people disappear. And then that's
in a good
what
way.
I did. That's what I did. Okay, I see. And we've got Europe versus North America here. And looking at the teams, so many teams. And now 100% score for Sloppy Lab Work. That's the only team that's been 100%, but if you're just by yourself, then it's a bit easier. Huh? So we got these 4 stars left in the tournament. And with regards to sets, I dare say we had a pretty balanced mix. And now it's still 50% GR, Braille Calb, please nerf. And Coda versus Worlds Collide. Not tonight.
So there's still the.
Yeah, Aaron?
I guess, sorry, I was going to say there's not the possibility of a GR versus GR final, at least.
There is a possibility of that happening, right?
Oh, I thought you said it was.
No, it's Coda versus GR, and it's World's
okay.
Mass Mutation.
Sorry, I misheard you.
Mass Mutation versus GR. Yeah. Back to 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. The world's back to normal again, folks.
Yeah. It could have been more, but people have found some good outs to it, right? Like the decks that are left are terrifying, including our world champion, right?
Yeah. They are. Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, there's the debate on Braille Calb. Should it go on the restricted list? I think 2 Calbs is the issue, mainly. 1 you can deal with, 2 is a lot more challenging. So maybe Calb restricted to 1. Just throwing some ideas. But anyway, the trivia section. And this time, Aaron, you copy-pasted everything. I didn't look at it yet.
Yeah.
So
I was going fast, so I probably won't know the answers either.
You probably don't know. I for certain don't know. So, which deck generated the most Ember per match turn in round 3? Well, that is interesting. I think it's got to be Carpe Diem, but
I don't know. I mean, the Mafioso.
Yeah, I didn't watch that in its entirety.
It makes a lot of amber.
I see some A question mark. Okay, and we're going to go through these a little bit faster than normal, right?
I'm going to go with C.
C?
I'm going to say Mafioso.
You knew the answer. Right, so it is C. Okay, it makes sense. Makes sense. So the Braille Calb lock actually made the most Ember per match turn in round 3. That's also scary. Yeah.
I mean, that's again kind of what we saw, right, with that deck, is that it just even if it doesn't do the Braille Calb stuff, it can still make a ton of amber.
Yeah. So which deck played the most cards per match turn in round 3? But okay, there was also concede on Fakey side, so that skewed the Carpe Diem's statistics. So
So basically, no one's gonna pick.
Nah, it's got to be Carpe Diem now. I think there was still huge turns in Guys Toy for Carpe Diem. So, A, A.
I'm still saying C.
You're still saying C? Well, you know the answer, but hey, let's go.
Ah, there you go.
So Carpe Diem. Yeah, monster Guys Toy turns there. And which deck had the highest pick rate? Pick rate variance. Okay. Thank you, Snoopy, for putting the explanation.
Yeah.
Okay. Pick rate variance is defined as the difference in pick rates between the most pick pot in a given deck and the least pick pot in a given deck. A deck that picks all its pots equally would have a pick rate variance of 0%. So if you pick only guys to it, it's 100%, I would imagine. So how evenly across houses did you call them? So this is which deck relied most on one house? Is that roughly translated?
Yeah.
A once more.
I mean, yeah, I think it's between A and C, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
A is maybe a little bit.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa,
Mars was more than
heavy.
even
Is
Carpe
that
Diem.
Star Lines then?
Harmed, what are you doing?
Harmed, what are you spreading out your house choices for? But
I
again, when he was in the lock, then the game was conceded. So, yeah. Okay, which deck had the lowest pick rate variance?
Quixel Master is tough because once you get into the disc, the disc gets picked a lot. But getting to that point, you pick all three houses. Like you're always trying to kind of keep handcrafting.
I think he fit in the Beyond because he tried to struggle and filter his hands and he got stuck every time, so then just had to.
There was a lot of Equidon calling, I believe.
Okay,
but
so then must not be. Let's see. 0, so equal.
Oh. Wow, it's calling everything. Yeah.
But that's not what you want, and that's also probably usually that should be the highest one, right, for the hysterical purger, because you want to go
Starlight. That one wants to do Starlights all the time, which again shows kind of why, like maybe not the best draws.
Maybe Which set has the highest retention rate? I think it's Mass Mutation.
It's gotta be Mass Mutation.
No, it's 33% Mass Mutation. Coda, how many started Coda? 3, 4.
Oh, those.
So then it's Grim Reminders, maybe even. No, it's Mass Mutations. Mass Mutations are 33. Grim Reminders were like 25, and Coda was like 25 as well. Oh.
Grim Reminders is even less because we started with it wasn't quite half, but it was.
The world is still upside down. Grim Reminders sucks. Only 80%. But of those 18%, yeah, well. Which house has the highest win rate? Well, this sounds like a trend, but now it was Equidon.
Ooh.
I think it may have turned
interesting. It's not a Coda house, right? There's no Mars, there's no shadows, there's no so that's pretty interesting. I'm tempted to say Star Alliance here.
B says, yeah, okay. I think
because last round I think it was Equidon, right?
Yeah, Star Alliance.
Because like
no.
Wow,
unfathomable. Okay, Bryocalp again.
I mean, yeah.
Bryocalp. Which house has the highest retention rate throughout the entire tournament? Oh. This?
I remember the answer to this one, so I'm not going to say.
Shadows. I think there that could also be unfathomable. I really don't know, actually.
How many Shadows pods did we even start with?
I think there were like 4 or 5. Okay, I'm just going to...
That'd be like a 20%?
It's Shadows.
Maybe, yeah, so if there's only 4 and one of them's in our semis, then it's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
This was all over the place, right? Everybody was bringing this. And there was a decent amount of unfathomable.
Yeah. Which pod generated the most Ember per match turn, including turns it wasn't picked? What?
I feel like that gives you a clue. Interesting.
How do you generate on a turn that's not picked, though? Are there Ember pips on BR Geists?
So that makes
some things.
Oh yeah, that is weird.
Like I don't in Carpe Diem when you don't pick. Okay, maybe there's amber pips. No, there's no amber pips on creatures with the lees. Yeah, if you house cheated, but I understand that that's how it happens. But I'm not seeing in this decks how that
All this
happens.
house cheating just puts creatures on the board, right? So it's not like
Yeah.
it's getting you amber pips. Huh.
Hmm. Then I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go for
say
C.
B then. Oh,
B.
give
I'm
your
gonna
go
go
for
for
C.
C.
No, no.
Carpe Diem's Geistoid. Okay. Which pod purged the most cards per match? Well, I think it's also Carpe Diem's Geistoid. Because you think it's the Dis, but it got turned against them. So Captain
Yeah.
goes really quick with the A here. Yeah, I think it's Carpe Diem's Geistoid. Which is
Yeah.
hysterical. Pun intended. There you go.
It's crazy. So crazy.
So actually, is A not B? Because most of the purging happened with the Infernuses from Hysterical Purges this. Yeah. Oh, you
Well,
really
but
still
also
have
the
the
well
A.
of memory, right?
Oh, that's also true. That's also true.
So that's what this doesn't say is opponent's cards versus your own cards.
Yeah, yeah. Which card was the played the most in round 3? I think
Ooh.
it's B or C. Or Calp. Oh.
Junk Restoration's always hard not to say it was that one.
Yeah. There's
Not everyone
double
plays as many
Boo
boos.
in. The Boo was also played a lot though.
I feel like if you're doing any kind of cycling though, Junk Restoration is just happening.
Okay, I'm locking in my answer and it's gonna be Boo. And I'm wrong. No. In here
Ooh,
somewhere in Junk.
that's crazy.
Hey guys, so this
True
is really good
commons
still.
are the two most commonly played
Yeah. Oh right,
from
Captain
the
Gale.
same
Now
house.
you pick A as well. Yeah. Which rare card was played the most in round 3? It's Time Traveler still, or Bryo? I feel like there
I don't
was
know if
not
I
a
got
lot
to
of
watch enough of
opportunity
the.
to play the Time Traveler, but I didn't watch it all the way. I watched parts of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bryo.
Me too. Me too. Ooh, so
Ah, one
close.
more.
Time Traveler. Time Traveler.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Knowing it was
CTM
against.
also close. Close, not tonight. Which
Yeah.
card purged the most cards in total? Yeah, B or C. But I think Well of Memory purged like 15 cards or something.
If we were doing challenger matches, it would 100% be well of memory.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not included in this. I think Well of Memory is
Strong
gonna be
deck
like.
hurts so much.
Now, maybe Well of Memory did more than 15. Maybe it's like between 20 and 13. 20 and 30. And then Inferns be like between 10 and 20. Okay, Well of Memory 20.
16
Yeah.
for Inference is still high, but yeah,
Still
well of
high.
memory
Still high.
does so much.
Yeah. And which card returned the most cards to hand in round 3? Most cards. Also interesting.
How many times
That's
is
a good
Island?
one,
Island's
though.
not going to get played more than once or used more than once a game, right?
But still, it can return up to 11 cards
Up
to
to
your hand in
11.
one turn.
Well, remember we just saw Purge 20 cards, so it got 20 cards back. Did
You would
Island get
think
more
so.
cards than that?
Potentially.
Hmm.
Junk Restoration played 16 times, yeah? So it cannot be Junk. So it's A or C. I think it's still C. 18. So how did the Persian not return anything if the draw was empty? Can't do that.
Stupid.
No, you can't do that. If the draw is empty,
here?
it can happen. Yeah. It would have done
What do you mean if
more
the draw is
if
empty?
the
You mean if the discard is empty?
if the discard is empty, you cannot pick anything back, right? So which card archived the most cards?
Ooh,
Auto
that's actually
encoder?
tough.
Intuitively?
I don't think it's B.
B? I don't think so.
I don't think. Is there even one of those left in the tournament?
Yeah.
There's no Amber Skies left.
I think it's auto encoder. But Winds of Death can also.
Yeah. I just don't feel like we've seen Winds of Death do stuff
it's
as
Winds of Death this time.
You're just doing like a BR Geist and stuff.
Winds of Death, let's go.
Oh, wow,
41.
by so much.
Wow. Still, Konopompa is 16.
Crazy.
Wow, that's a lot.
So this is where I think, like, again, the restricted list is like Winds of Death is on the restricted list, but it's being played with Calp, which is not. So if you just put one of those on there, then maybe we do actually start seeing numbers like this change. I don't know if that's the right way to go, but Winds of Death by itself was not.
No, it was not the issue. I don't
Didn't
think.
quite treat the issue.
And which card has the most plays throughout the entire tournament? In here somewhere.
It's in a lot of sets. A lot of the Amber Skies, especially, was used that too. So I think that's a good.
No, it's Boo. What? Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, not tonight. Yeah, I'm super surprised as well. Okay, cool. And what card with at least 40 plays throughout the entire tournament has the highest win rate? Well, we know what we've been saying. But Retro Technician Lee is probably higher because...
it's got to be up there.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a D. Even it was in other builds as well. Ooh, yeah, Captain Gale agrees with me. D. That's Calp.
I mean,
Calp.
That kind of makes sense. Those decks are doing well.
It does. But I thought Calp was also in other builds that did not have Lees, and the both that are doing well have the Lees. But the Retro Technician Lees were also in different builds.
Yeah.
And what card with at least 30 plays throughout the entire tournament? It can still be Lee. Control the Weak? I don't think so. Winds of Death?
Yeah, that's tough. I feel like
now I'm going for Lee.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. Yeah. I don't think it's in here somewhere because there's too many. Yeah.
Yes, 46%. Wow. B, no, it was E. Which card has drawn the most cards per copy in all original 32 decks?
So I love that Waking Nightmare is even an option.
So yeah, I think. Is there a draw pip on Waking Nightmare because it gets looped?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the only way it even draws a card. It doesn't naturally draw cards at all, but it's on there because I'm
gonna say Time Traveler here.
I know the answer, but
yeah, you know, yeah, Time Traveler. What?
It's Waking Nightmare. That is the funniest thing to me
because
ever.
Because there's only one copy.
Well, because he rule of 6 it once he gets it going, so it's just like you play the Nightmare, you play the whatever the other card is that loops, and you just Mind Fire.
That's
and you just keep looping them.
Okay, we have one more slide after this one, and then we're donesies. So Alliance versus Archon, and it should be round 3 versus round 3. But no one saw that, right? And it's not even that actually. It's actually all rounds, I think. So yeah, we did it in a spreadsheet this time. So let's have a good look. Alliance Archon, and let me just pull it up a little bit. So keys forged. Obviously that's going to decrease, right? So if you look at round 3, 28 versus 33, but again, 2 games were conceded. So
yeah, but those keys probably wouldn't have been. It would probably ended up about the same. Yeah,
there would have been at least 3 or 4 more keys there.
Yeah,
which still isn't the exact.
But I'm saying like it wouldn't have been like a 2-3 game necessarily the way those games are going.
No,
it would have been 3.
No.
But whatever.
One game was ended with 2 keys on the winner and 1 on 1 key in the winner. So there's
still would have been pretty close to the same numbers.
But I think the turns per match for Alliance they've been getting longer, and for Archon they've been getting shorter.
If you look at what's been winning,
that's interesting.
It's lots of disruption winning out here.
And the Ember per turn has been kind of decreasing and increasing here, kind of.
Yeah,
that's cool. Number of 2-0 matches, 4 and 3.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bummer this round that all of the matches ended up 2-0. But
actions per deck. This apparently actions do well, and creatures can't draw that much from it. Artifacts Yeah.
Still a little bit higher,
Yeah.
but
And upgrades, a bit more upgrades than Archon. But this is interesting, this trend of the turns per match going up and here it's going down. I think that's cool.
it's
If you
very
want to
interesting.
build an alliance, make sure it has enough upgrades. That's definitely how you can read this table. Yeah. Um, and of course, all the statistics here, if you just follow them and build according to the statistics, you can't go wrong, right?
You will
So
automatically win.
you want to include the cards that win the most and draw the most cards. So you need Waking Nightmare, you need Well of Memory, you need Infernus, you need, just smack all these cards together and you'll win the tournament next time. Because that's how it works, right?
I mean, the cards you mentioned didn't seem too bad. Like Well of Memory is like, yeah, it's probably still going to do pretty well.
Yeah.
But
So, we've come to the end, and with only been 1 hour and 20 minutes, I think that's pretty good. That's a solid.
that's wonderful.
That's a solid watch. Oh no, I have 0 upgrades. Yeah, Captain Gale. Yeah, you're doomed. 4
Show
upgrades
four
just in case.
harmed?
Singing Scythe ×2. That's already
Oh
there.
yeah, the singing sides.
And then there's the modular exoskeleton and the proton siphon, I think. And Harmed can say yes or no. Yeah.
Very fun.
Yeah, so I'll put the graphics on there. I'll fix Matt's graphic because I forgot the autocannons, which is like the most important thing. Oh
Did
boy.
him dirty.
Hey, Snoopy, you just got here.
Oh no.
Oh no. Well, watch the VOD. Yeah.
Okay, we
So,
just
any closing remarks, Aaron, before we.
not too much. Again, super excited about the challenger matches. I think that's been a
Yeah,
great idea you guys brought into this. So loving those. Excited for 4 more this round. But yeah, be on the lookout for. Again, I think these semifinal matches
they're
are going to be
fire.
awesome to watch. I'm
Yeah.
super excited. So uh, be on the lookout for those.
Actually, 4 challenger matches. Four. 2 semifinals, and a final. That means there's only 7 games left.
That's crazy.
If we don't conjure up something new, but I don't think we will. So 7 games left to watch. Yeah. Stay tuned this week. Thank you all for
It's going to
joining,
go fast.
and I'll see. We'll see you on the next one, right?
Yeah. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you this week.
Bye.